I was afraid we were going to get a Lost finale. I was afraid we were going to get one of those where they were going to end it, but not really, just because they're trying to keep the doors open. And
Oh, yeah.
nope, they fucking dropped the anchor.
Original geek, that's who I am. Rolling 20s with my squad, we got a plan.
All right, welcome to Original Geek. This is the all fandom podcast for science fiction, fantasy, comics, and every pop culture obsession that built us. Whether you're Gen X, millennial, or just geek curious, welcome to the basement. Hey, I'm Steve Scarfo.
And I'm Jeff Shaw, and we'll be your glowing blue vial of Compound V for today's shortcut to absolute corruption as we deconstruct the Cape with the Boys universe.
The Boys.
Yo, boys.
I will say you were saying deconstruct something about compound in your pacing. I thought you were going to say a vial of cum. I'm like, what are you saying? Compound V.
No, we're going to our basement briefs, baby.
It's the basement brief. This is being recorded on May 20th. This is the day the final episode of the entire series, season 5, ends. The series ends. Jeff and I have both just today watched the last episode.
Fresh.
So it was, do you want to start with because I know we're going to do in our random review, we're going to specifically talk about this recent season.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't want to jump on our own stuff like we do all the time.
Well, no, I guess, for those who aren't familiar, and it's probably very few of you, but the Boys, the reason we call it Deconstructing the Cape is, was it 2006, originated in 2006, Garth Ennis, who, and we'll talk about this later, in our evolution, but, wrote the comic book, The Boys, the series, which went to 2012. And neither of us read that comic book.
Didn't even know it existed.
However, I remember, and I can't remember the exact year that The Boys premiered. I'm sure you can tell me, but I remember watching the previews and thinking, this looks awesome. Seth Rogen as a producer. I loved the humor of it. I love whenever they take the superhero genre and kind of turn it around. Like, I remember there was a series called What If by Marvel, and it would try to do that. Like, okay, you think you know the Black Panther, you think you know the Fantastic Four. What if this happened? And this was, kind of that, what if our heroes were actually villains? What if they weren't motivated by goodness and purity and truth, but by greed and avarice and carnal desire? And that's The Boys. And so I thought it was great. And then I couldn't imagine when I watched season 1 how the Boys, which is the group from Billy Butcher of ordinary humans, were going to take down superheroes. Just didn't seem possible.
Oh, and they ping-ponged around it. Even in the last season, they ping-ponged around it a lot. Because I was, I remember watching that first episode. It was 2019, by the way.
Okay.
July 26, 2019 was the season 1 premiere of The Boys. And like Jeff said, I'd never even heard of this title. So when I saw the previews on Prime, I'm like, damn, what is this? And it was very hooky. It was, you look at it and you go, I need to see what this is. I mean, it really was geek bait. You want to call it clickbait. It was geek bait. You're like, this is perfect.
Yeah.
It's, when you're a kid and you go, every geek, I think, played this game. Like, what superpower would you have? Like, we had a choice. and they did. Well, they didn't really have a choice about which one they got, but they got a choice about whether or not they were going to get one. I guess their parents technically had the choice.
Yeah.
But, it's, and so it wasn't the best of the best. There wasn't the Superman who fell to earth and had a ghostly father to guide him morally. It wasn't Batman who's driven by keeping the city safe because his parents were. It's just a bunch of dickheads with powers.
Right.
Sorry,
Which-
is that harsh? Is that
But to a certain degree, I can see that, right? Like it tried to approach it, and I think about it. We've talked about the Orville, and someday we'll maybe do an episode on the Orville, even though it's like gone. So we
Yes.
tend to do things that are fresh.
maybe we'll just do a whole
But-
flashback episode.
But the Orville, for those who aren't familiar with it, it had this similar thing where it's like, okay, what would ordinary people do? Because like when you watch Star Wars, Star Trek, these are people making extraordinary choices and decisions, and the everyday schmo, which I guess the Star Trek Lower Decks did, but what was the everyday schmo gonna do? And the Orville kind of did that, and I think The Boys does that too, where it's like, okay, give someone who isn't the most pure soul superpowers. What do they do with it? Not like, not the person who, like Daredevil, is like, I can't kill him. I know it's easier that way, but I gotta make the tough choice.
And it's so funny that this, of course, we just did the Daredevil and then we did the Punisher, the one.
Oh
shot.
yeah, Punisher, right? Yeah, he's making a different choice than Daredevil. Yeah.
Well, no, but it's funny that we go from Daredevil to Punisher to this show because, like, Daredevil, you're right. He's whole thing is I can't kill him, I can't become him, and in The Boys, it's like they just kill everybody.
Yeah.
It's funny that when you talk about oh God, what was the show you were just talking about?
Orville.
Orville, because it has that slightly different perspective. It's what would the normal people do? And I remember because there was a movie we both loved, and it was a play first called Rosencrantz and Guildenstern are dead, and it is sort of the Shakespearean version of that. It's
Yes.
what would have happened to these two side characters.
Yeah.
And that movie was brilliant. Was it Tom Stoppard? Was that the writer?
Yeah, and had Tim Roth and Gary Oldman.
And Gary
Highly
Oldman.
recommend it.
Oh yeah, phenomenal movie. If you guys have never seen this.
Oh,
movie.
and he was in Jaws. Hooper. Richard Dreyfuss. Yeah.
Oh yes.
Yep.
Yeah, and it's great because they show you some of the scenes from what's the real play?
It's Hamlet. So
it's Hamlet. Thank you, goodness.
Yeah, so like he'll do Hamlet, the scene they are in Hamlet, then cut to their ordinary life. Yeah.
And they light it and they change it perfectly so it runs, it's very dressed for the Hamlet scene, and then they go into like a almost sepia toned scene of them just hanging out waiting.
Yeah. For the next scene.
For the next scene to come along. So it's very much in that vein. And it just popped into my head while you were talking about the Orville. I'm like, oh my God, we've sort of been on this train for a while.
Yeah.
And The Boys is just probably the most violent version of it.
Mm-hmm.
But goodness. So just a rundown, it's been since 2019. There are a couple other shows that we're going to talk about that came out in the last few years. And then apparently there's a couple more coming. So that'll be interesting to see
Fingers
too.
crossed.
But
should we review the final episode?
I think we should. Let's drop in to this random review.
It's time for a random review.
All right, welcome to this original Geek Random Review. We set the topic, the dice set the direction. We know what we're reviewing. We just don't know how. Today, as Jeff just said.
Yeah, we're doing The Boys, just the final episode. I know as we were preparing for this, let's do a Boys. We got to do The Boys. And we were kind of thinking, do we do this whole season? Do we do the whole show series? But because this day that we're recording is the day the finale came out, the final episode, this is pure final episode random review. Spoilers ahead.
I was just going to say. So if that didn't tell you that this is spoiler filled, don't watch this. I said it during the Punisher one shot too. If you haven't watched it, pause us, go watch it, and come back.
Yeah.
Because this was an action-packed episode.
Yeah.
So I know we usually talk more about it afterward. I think I rolled for you first last time.
So I'm rolling for you.
Let's go.
We've got an 18
Ooh.
successful charisma check. The Deep's karma. Chase Crawford's character meeting the marine life. Horrifically satisfying. The Deep being lured into the ocean by Starlight and subsequently torn apart by radicalized sea life was the ultimate charisma hit. It brought his 5-season arc of exploiting marine characters to a hilarious, gory, full circle conclusion. Your thoughts?
I could not agree with that more.
I love it.
He was the character you loved to hate.
Yeah.
And the actor, they put his name here, Chase Crawford, the actor who played him perfectly. He was very much, you could see the bravado of the Deep on the outside, but Crawford plays it in such a way that you can see the insecurity. Like, I don't think it was melodramatic. I don't think it was overdone. Like, he's just looking for a father figure for approval, and they show it in the most hilarious ways. I mean, he has sex with an octopus at one point in season 3 or 4. And earlier in the season, I know we weren't going to talk about anything, but earlier in the season, the guy who's replaced Noir because Deep fucked with him, he went and tore up a pipeline and then blamed it on the Deep. So every creature in the ocean is pissed at the Deep. And to the point where, and we talked about this before. So also, you guys should know, this is the 3rd or 4th iteration of this random review because we were trying to do it and then we couldn't get it scheduled. And then every time we wanted to talk, something different had come out. So that's why this is just about this last one. But also we had talked about when he was sitting on the dock and there's like, save him. It's the Deep. He's right there. Save him. And he's like, nope, sorry, can't do it. Because he knows that the fish will tear him apart. So to see the final battle, and I think it was so poetic too that it was Starlight, because the whole show too starts off with her becoming one of the 7, and he immediately gets her to give him a blowjob because he convinces her that he's the guy. And then they come out of the stall and she realizes as they go sit in the 7's area, whatever, I don't know if they call it a throne room or whatever, I forget, but like you realize right away, like, no, he's just kind of a douche. But I thought it was hysterical.
Yeah, I love that Starlight, that this episode had a lot of that, where things that happened in the first season, we get that bookend. So with this one, like, I love that Starlight finally gets her revenge on the Deep. So it's taken 5 seasons, but mission accomplished. Agreed. The other kind of bookend that was hilarious was Huey getting just splattered with blood. He's like, I need a new job. And it was that same thing from when Translucent got blown up. And he's looking at the poster of the boy with the spaghetti on his head. And it was perfect. This episode had a number of those. What's that?
The very first episode too, where you first see Huey and his girlfriend, the whole thing that gets kicked
Oh yes!
off,
Oh my god!
because
Yeah,
it's within a minute or two.
Yes,
He's holding her hands.
All right, so
and
he
the
gets
next thing,
splattered quite a few times.
Huey just is constantly splattered with blood, and the fact I agree. When he said, "I need a new job," I laughed my ass off.
Yeah. So that was great. Yeah. So no, this was perfect. And the only thing, and maybe I missed it because there was a number of like sea life voices. I love that Samuel L. Jackson was the hammerhead shark.
Yeah.
Like, fuck you, motherfucker. But I didn't catch it if it was there. Was the hammerhead shark part of the revenge on the Deep? Did he get consumed or bitten? Or
I don't think they.
I didn't hear that
him,
voice.
but I
Okay.
thought, I thought I heard the voice, but
Oh, you
they
did?
just
Okay.
showed all the sharks coming, but it
Yeah,
ended
yeah.
up being like an octopus that got him.
Yeah, it's like, or squid
Um,
or something. Yeah.
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 Yeah, because it was a tentacle that comes out through his head.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I love too that they did this a lot through this episode. There's no question. Like there's no the deep gets pulled under and he's still kicking and screaming. Oh, maybe he convinced them that
He'll be okay.
maybe, you know what I mean? Yeah, there was no maybe he's survived, right? They
Yeah.
show him die in the best, worst way possible.
All right.
All right, you ready?
Yes.
All right, here we go. Ooh, a 15. The human speech, a successful diplomacy. Huey's final plead to Butcher. Oh, this is a good one. The emotional peak. Jack Quaid delivers the definitive performance when he tells Butcher, "You're not a monster, it just hurts to be human." It completely validated Huey's role as the moral anchor of the entire 5-season run.
Yeah. So Jack Quaid, so good. He looks so much like his mom, Meg Ryan. Like, because it's Dennis Quaid and Meg Ryan's son. But
Do
I
you
think
know, I did not know that.
really?
Didn't know that.
So he looks so much more like Meg Ryan, I think, than Dennis Quaid. But he and I love that, and also kind of parallel to the scene, Butcher, he's like, everything I tried, he kind of like tried to corrupt Huey, and Huey could not be corrupted. Huey stayed true to himself, and then, when he said that, it just hurts to be human, because I was thinking about, like, it almost seemed like because Butcher, right before he makes this decision to try to release a virus that's going to kill all superheroes, including Starlight, which Huey, of course, would not. And he doesn't think they need genocide anyway. That there's plenty of good people and good superheroes. But certainly he wants to protect Starlight. But Butcher, he just got hurt by Ryan said, "I don't want anything to do with you. You're not a good person." And so Butcher is like, "All right, screw it. I'm going to go kill everyone." And
Well, you skipped over an important spot,
what's that?
because then he goes into his room to say to
Oh, yeah.
his
and then
dog,
his dog's
"It's just
dead.
you and I."
Yeah, yeah.
And once again, the theme of the week, the dog died.
Yeah.
So I think it was sort of a 1-2 punch. The one person he connected to and the dog dying
Yeah.
makes him
That's
kind of
true.
go,
Yeah.
well, fuck it.
So, like, his whole, like, he was so driven for revenge, and then he got that revenge, and then, yeah, what's left? Oh, yeah, that one thing I said I was going to do, which was destroy all superheroes. I guess I'll just do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's funny. It reminds me of Inigo Montoya from The Princess Bride. "I've been in the revenge business so long, I don't know what to do."
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, I think the performances in general, I think most of our hit shows, and this may seem like, oh, obvious, like Captain Obvious here, but it's not to diminish the writing, but I feel like the perfect cast can just make a show. And I feel like the boys did that. I couldn't imagine anyone else doing most of these roles, and certainly not Carl Urban as Butcher and Jack Quaid as Huey were just perfect. So
No, and do you know what's funny? Jack Quaid just did a movie last year called Novocaine, I think it's called. He plays a guy who has a disorder where he can't feel pain, and he accidentally kind of becomes, he accidentally kind of becomes a hero and helps someone, but it's only really because he gets beat up, but he can't feel the pain, so he just keeps going.
Huh.
And I was a little nervous to watch it because I was so used to him as Huey. that you know how it is when you see a person as a character, they start to be that character.
Yeah.
And I will say this wasn't a huge departure in terms of, character acting. It was still a very, physical role, and he was still, but he was great. But I agree. Even like, I love Giancarlo Esposito, him as Dan Edgar. Yeah. There was so much of this episode that was so satisfying. I
Yeah.
was so afraid. I was afraid we were going to get a lost finale. I was afraid we were going to get one of those where they were going to end it, but not really, just because they're trying to keep the doors open. And
Oh, yeah.
nope, they fucking dropped the anchor, and they did, I think, an amazing job of tying up. Now, there's a few things I thought, and we'll talk about them in some of the next segments, but there were a couple things I was like, But overall, the episode was great.
Okay.
Not in the episode specifically, but in this last season or two.
All right. Looking forward to tackling that with you.
So listen, I say this every time. This is our random review. This is a standalone segment, but it's also part of the larger episode. Go back, check out the larger episode. It's always going to be tagged. I can start saying link in bio because I probably finally fixed all that. So if you're seeing this as a one-off, go check out all the episodes and join us for more. And now we're just going to jump into our Geek Flashback.
Let's take a trip through time. It's a Geek Flashback.
Nice. All right. So both Steve and I stopped collecting comic books in the 90s, correct?
Yeah.
So The Boys came out in 2006. So both of us, as we discussed earlier in the episode, missed that. But before The Boys, and I was going to go with my flashback. I can't flash back to a comic book, but I can, although this was a comic book, The Mystery Men is my flashback. Came out in 1999. I never the Flaming Carrot was the publishing company, and I was spending enough money on Marvel and a little bit of DC. I couldn't afford Flaming Carrot too. So apparently in the late 80s, The Mystery Men was part of that that series. And I consider that, I've not seen this anywhere, but as a precursor for The Boys, and I can't imagine how it couldn't have influenced it. But the movie, Greg Kinnear plays Captain Amazing, and Captain Amazing looks like he's kind of like an Iron Man, so he's a wealthy, or like a Batman, because Iron Man, although actually in the comics he did have an alter ego of Tony Stark. They weren't the same thing. Robert Downey Jr. made that decision, like, I am Iron Man, and just let it out of the bag. But he looks like a NASCAR driver. Captain Amazing is covered in logos because he's got all these corporate sponsors, and he's done such a great job of fighting crime that he is reduced to, in the beginning of this episode, stopping these like C-list villains. Yeah, there's this C-list villain cadre, the red eyes, and they're terrorizing an old folks home party and robbing a bunch of senior citizens, and he stops them. And then as he's leaving, he rips off the Pepsi patch because Pepsi has dropped him as a sponsor, and others are threatening to do so because there's no real value in sponsoring this guy. There's nothing else to do. So he ends up freeing Casanova Frankenstein, played by Jeffrey Rush, as his supervillain, and it ends up backfiring horribly. But here he is, like,
think it would.
The hero. He's more concerned with the corporate sponsorship. He's more concerned with losing money. He's like, he should be like, yes, I did it. I solved crime. Instead, he's like, no, I got to keep going. So I have to invent these things. Flash forward to The Boys, where almost every single crime they stop is a setup. They're not really doing it, and they're not really needed and then when those are ineffective, they start introducing Compound V to create supervillains or super terrorists. Same thing, Casanova Frankenstein. And so the Mystery Man from 1999, it's very silly, much sillier than The Boys. But if you haven't watched it, give it a try. So it's got Ben Stiller as Mr. Furious, Janine Garofalo as Carol, she's the bowler. Paul Rubens is the spleen, who's farting is his superpower. William H. Macy is the shoveler. He shovels well. He shovels really well. Hank Azaria is the Blue Raja. He is a effete Indian Englishman who throws silverware, but not knives, just forks and spoons. And Wes Tootie, which, like, I recognize that guy, but he's the Sphinx and everything's very mysterious. He says things that are very mysterious. Eddie Izzard is in it, Artie Lang, like Lena Olin. This cast is amazing. And it's like A-list cast. They weren't all A-list in 1999. Some of them became A-list later. But man, it's got a great cast. I thought it was hilarious. I know it was technically not successful, but because it cost $65 million to make, and I think it only made $90 million.
Yeah.
So that's
I love it when they make a $30 million profit and go, that wasn't good enough. You know, their scales are good. You know, it's funny. You mentioned you would talk about this, but I remember this movie, and I think because of the absurdity of the characters, like I'm looking at this image and Hank Azaria, like his thing is the forks.
Yes.
And it's, you know, it's just
well, in The Invisible Boy, he's only invisible when no one's looking.
Yes.
So you think, oh, come on, you're not really invisible. How would anyone know that? But then they have to get through something. Oh, I don't want to ruin it in case you haven't seen it.
I mean, you know, it's only 27 years old. But
spoilers.
Yeah, I think it's funny because I see that it's available on Prime, talking about The Boys, but I think it's one of those, and I say this, I think every episode, I'm going to have to go back and watch that. I have actually gone back and watched some of
Cook is
these.
the waffler. Come on. Dane Cook. That's got to hook you in, right?
Dane Cook. He was important for like 30 to 40 seconds. I will say, so my flashback is a bit different than yours, tied to The Boys, but in a different way. Yours was what, 1999? So this goes all the way back to 2005. And this is, I know, because I'm young, dude. That's old to me. 2005, so what, 21 years ago. Season 1 of Supernatural. So the tie into The Boys is Eric Kripke. He is the showrunner, and he was the developer of Supernatural. And so the connection is the cast. And I don't think it's probably a stretch for anybody who's watched or listened to us talk. Supernatural is a show right up my alley. I love all that kind of stuff. And, you know, these two guys, these two brothers and it had that same, it wasn't as dark and disgusting, of course, because it was regular TV. I think it was the CW, but it was funny and lighthearted. And even though they were killing evil creatures, and it was very procedural, right? Because they'd have a larger story arc throughout the season, but every episode was kill the creature, kill the creature, kill the creature, right? And each episode they had to find a new thing to do. And it almost was like an X-Files for fantasy supernatural versus aliens and that kind of stuff. So very, very cool show. But because he is who he is, Kripke brought the cast along for the ride. And that culminated in not the final episode, but an episode a few seasons. And of course, Seth Rogen's also a producer of The Boys. And so if you're a fan of the show, you know the episode I'm about to talk about. So I tie it back. My flashback is the connection to Supernatural, but I want to do that to bring it back in because Jensen Ackles, I do have the whole list. I want to make sure I don't leave anybody out. Jensen Ackles, Jared Padalecki. Jensen Ackles is Soldier Boy. He's in the last 2 seasons. Jared Padalecki comes in as Mr. Marathon, who's like their speedster, who becomes the unwitting tool in the episode that I'm talking about. Misha Collins, who plays Mal Chemical. But then Jim Beaver, who's Bobby Singer. And the hysterical part is he was Bobby Singer in this show, too.
Oh, yeah.
So his character in Supernatural was Bobby Singer, and they made him Bobby Singer here. Jeffrey Dean
wow.
Morgan from Walking Dead was John Winchester, who also plays, oh God, what's he called? He plays Joe Kessler. He was a figment of Butcher's imagination. And then there's a bunch of, and I'm going to jump over all the individual lists, but there's like 7 or 8 others who were in Supernatural for like an episode or two.
Yeah.
That he connected. So I count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 actors, 13 actors that he's pulled in.
Yeah. That's crazy.
And so it's basically a Supernatural reunion. And it was a show that I loved a lot. It was a lot of fun. And they had the same humor. So there was always being smartasses to each other, giving each other shit, the two brothers, and the two actors, Ackles and Padalecki, were great in those roles too. But the episode, they're looking for the guy who has the one vial of V1 that's left, and this is what's supposed to make Homelander immortal. And so everyone's searching for it. And so Soldier Boy goes to see Marathon Man, even though they hate each other. And it's Ackles and Padalecki. And of course, they show up at his apartment. So it was Seth Rogen was there himself, Kumail Nanjiani, Will Forte, Christopher Mintz-Plasse, and Craig Robinson. And they're much like they did in Supernatural. They taunt each other to the point where Soldier Boy is pissing off Marathon Man, and he's trying to speed into him and kill him, but he just keeps putting other people in front of him, and he ends up just like literally killing everybody, including Misha Collins, who was also in Supernatural, was there too. So just a great fucking episode.
Yeah.
And a cool tie-in to another show that I liked a lot personally. So
Awesome.
that's my Flash sideways. Not really back. It's only 20 years. I guess it's a little bit back.
I want to take you to court, Scarfo.
The fandom is divided. It's time for Geek Court.
All right. Here's the case. The spin-off fatigue indictment. The charge, dilution of the brand. The prosecution, which is me. I'm putting the existence of Gen V itself on trial, arguing that spin-off directly violates the cynical, anti-franchise satire The Boys was built on. So they're making fun of having a Vought universe, and here they are creating a Vought universe. Mm-hmm. How dare they?
Well, the defense, before you make your case, let's tell them what the defense will be. The defense, which is me, will be saying that Gen V actually enhances the universe. Instead of just focusing on the cynical, jaded adults like Butcher and Homelander, it shows how Vought ruins young, hopeful lives. It has the same dark humor and gore, but it applies to a college setting, making the stakes feel fresh and not so cheap. Corporate synergy. It's excellent, expansive storytelling. So,
no, it's not.
You want to try to make your case?
First of all, I will say this, that when I first saw it, I was super excited. I'm like, yes, love The Boys. Give me more The Boys. But unfortunately, that's not what we got from Gen V. What we got from Gen V was similar to Twilight and just, I actually, and I know we talked about this Starfleet Academy, which I love, but was not successful partly because, and I get why you want to do it. You want to attract that younger audience. Okay. Mm-hmm. But you got to give them some, and you can't just treat them like they're not worthy of quality writing. So Gen V is not, we only got 2 seasons, I think, not because they're going to use these characters effectively. And I was on we were on the fence about what was our Geek Court going to be. And I was waiting to see, okay, are we going to get that payoff? Are we going to see these Gen V heroes show up in The Boys' final season and make the difference? No, they didn't need to be in the final season at all. They have no relevance. They could have had any other B-list superhero show up and do the exact same thing. They are wasted characters. This is a wasted 2 seasons. I may have been entertained. I'm not saying I was entertained. Gladiator, are you entertained? Sure I was. But you know what? Didn't need it at all. Your case, sir.
All right. So here's the deal. This is, to me, the universe building story that I think does do a couple of things. One, what you said, which is it's trying to appeal to a younger audience, because The Boys is quite literally primarily about the boys. It's Huey, it's Butcher, it's MM, it's Frenchie, right? Yeah, we get some Starlight in there, but even all the bad guys are boys, right? So you got a very male-driven show, which most superhero shows are, and I know that's changed a lot in the last 20 years or so. Not all comic books, but the shows were typically the ones that they geared towards the men. So in this instance, Gen V focuses on the female story, a younger female story, of how this girl specifically deals with this power she has, and how that evolves from her finding out, and you end up learning her history and her situation with her sister. We do get some cameos from The Boys. You know, Giancarlo Esposito is in this in Gen V. Starlight herself makes a couple of appearances in Gen V. I think it tried to earn its spot as a standalone. I think that the maybe original point of it was they knew they had to end The Boys, but they wanted to keep the universe alive. And they were trying to build something. Now, I will give you this part. The payoff was not there. I thought the 2 seasons were good. I thought they were fun and funny. There were goofy things. They got to showcase some new powers. It was almost like one of those first X-Men movies where you see Professor X's school and you see all the X-Men in the background. And, you know, the first time we see Kitty Pryde in one of the X, she's like somebody who walks through the background, right? And I thought that was kind of a cool way to show all these different power types was a campus. And, you know, and they talk about this hierarchy and how they're indoctrinating all these kids into the Vought world of, I mean, and it parallels our own world pretty clearly with the social media and the rankings and how popular you are. And so I thought it did a really good job of that. Now, the tie-in to The Boys was so minimal. They used them twice in the last season. And they're basically cameos. Like they show up just because they're familiar faces. And I do agree with you on that part. I'm not going to say you won, but I agree with you on that part that they could have made them more critical members of that final team. Like this whole, I can't think of the character's name. Marie Moreau. Sorry, I can't think of it. The whole buildup of 2 seasons is her coming into her power because she's so powerful. She's the one that can help kill Homelander. And then she just drives a van full of victims away. So that's what I was talking about before when I like, it's the one thing I didn't like was that they did not they had all these great characters, like use them. But I think Gen V itself, I think it stood up on its own. Okay. I was actually hoping for more.
So listeners and viewers, as you well know, Steve was playing the role of Butt Boy, the black hole. That was from season 2. This guy that's pulling a bunch of stuff out of his ass to try to win. But we all know that Butt Boy in this case. Actually, that was not a good example because actually Butt Boy was critical to our heroes winning in the end of season 2 of Gen V. So Sorry, butt boy.
I'm
Maybe you
just
did win
saying.
after all.
I'm just saying. But now, like Jeff said, if you guys tell us what you think. Did you like Gen V? Was it worth it? Do you agree that they didn't use them properly for the finale of the real show? And do you hope they do more? Send us a note, originalgeekpodcast@gmail.com. We're going to jump into some evolution time.
From floppy disks to streaming clicks, it's Geek Evolution.
All right. So I have Mystery Men as the first thing from 1986 with Flaming Carrot Comics. Do you have an earlier example?
I do not.
So that's what I feel like that was the seed. Listeners, please tell us, is there an earlier iteration of this concept of the hero not really being heroic, but motivated by greed?
I mean,
I would also, at the same time period, didn't read it, The Watchmen. I'm offering that up as well. I love the movies and the TV show on HBO. I love Alan Moore. But at the time, like both Steve and I were collecting comics in the 80s, but we only had so many dollars to spend or comics that we could steal from the comics. Just kidding. So The Watchmen didn't make my buy list. Should have, because it's probably worth a good amount of money, those Volume 1 Watchmen comics. But The Watchmen kind of that similar, like Deconstruct the Cape. They're not all that heroic, you know. Jeffrey D. Morgan is the comedian in the movie, making that connection just now. So, and he was abusive to women. So, scumbag hero.
There was a show called Misfits of Science. Hold on, I'm going to get us a date. It was a show in the 80s. It's trying to bring up the information. So it was not that they were motivated by greed, but they were superheroes who weren't superheroes. They were, I believe,
were they the greatest American hero?
No, that's one of my favorite shows of all time. But they were, so 1985, The Misfits of Science was the first one. But they were like, I almost think they were convicts that they were given powers. And then they brought them together to be like a team. So it was that, I mean, it's in the title, Misfits of Science, right? They had sort of powers. Remember, one guy had a little gland he could press on the back of his neck and he'd shrink down. It was some weird stuff. So that's the first one I remember of the superhero not being super. It's not specifically that they were evil or bad like you were talking about, but.
Yeah, and then I think about Kick-Ass as another iteration of this prior to The Boys. They didn't have superpowers, but they were ordinary people trying to be superheroes. And a little connection there. One of my favorite scenes in Kick-Ass is when they're Kick-Ass and the Red Mist, Christopher Mintz Place, that we're connecting to The Boys here. But also it's CeeLo Green. They were singing to Crazy as they're driving down the road. And CeeLo Green was actually in the Mystery Men. He was played in the kind of rapper villain group.
Oh, I did not know that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Again, the cameos in that scene and that episode were great. And the tie-ins were all they were all legit tie-ins to other stuff that either they were associated with the team that was running the show or the actors themselves, or like Christopher Mintz-Plasse. I assume he was in it because of Kick-Ass, right? Kamal Nanjiani.
Marvel hero.
Was a Marvel hero. I mean, it's all there was so much going on. I remember watching the original Watchmen movie. I do have a list here. You know, another one I never watched. I never read, but I like is Peacemaker. Peacemaker's another one of those guys who's a superhero who's not,
That's a good point.
But I never read Peacemaker. Doom Patrol was on HBO Max.
Yeah, and
which
that's
is
more like a quirky. They're still like generally their
they're
motivations
generally
are
good. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Again,
Suicide
it's
Squad on the flip side, though, that's more
yeah.
their
They're more.
motivations are self-preservation, not
Oh yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. They're not straight up evil. Like Homelander was straight up evil. The idea of this is not your normal view of a superhero. Like when most of the last 20 years, superhero movies have been the Marvel and DC tentpole movies.
Yeah.
You know, Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman. We got the pantheon from Marvel between both movies and TV shows of all of these upstanding people with powers. Fucking Spider-Man, with great power comes great responsibility. It's in the fucking fabric of the story. And all of the stuff we're talking about is what happens if, you said it earlier, like what's going to go down. So, Umbrella Academy is another one I never read, but I love the show.
I don't
Again,
want
they're
to
not really-
go into my rant, but this will naturally go in. This is a rant adjacent that I have prepared.
Well, this is what we always do. We go right from evolution into rant. So do we want to?
No, I need to first plant this seed.
Okay.
So, one of the things about the boys that I think is hilarious that people have gotten their panties in a twist about is thinking, oh my God, they went woke. Oh my God, they're talking about Trump, or they're talking about right-wing politics, or they're talking about, Christian evangelism or whatever. And I'm thinking, this comic book came out in 2006, 10 years before Trump took office. It ended in 2012, 4 years before he took office. And most of this is pretty true to that series, as far as I know. Of course, they've made some differences. So when you see something in this show and you think, how dare they? They recorded this a year ago. So if you're seeing something that from this past episode that mirrors something that's happening right now, well, they were just prophets. They weren't commenting on your, if you happen to be, a supporter. They're not commenting on that, other than what these people have done. I think of back to like George Orwell in 1984. It's like, okay, what's the worst case scenario? What's the worst thing that could happen if we continue down this path? And
the fact that it
what
actually happened, yeah. The fact that it actually happened isn't their fault.
Right. So like there's this board meeting that Homelander has, and I thought of the parallel, but it was there before Trump. Like everyone goes around and says, like, it's just kissing his ass, like, you're the best, Homelander, I love you, you're awesome. And then one person's like, hey, should we talk about the profit margins for Q2? And Homelander's like, you trying to make me look like an idiot? Get this person out of here. Like the one person that doesn't just kiss his ass gets kicked out.
Yeah. Yeah. Whatever you think of the current situation that we're dealing with these days, I think it's if you don't see the beauty in the way they handled it this season. I'm sure that some of that was reactionary. I agree. I think a lot of it that was pre-planned because they did exactly what you're talking about. But the idea that they had the signs on the lawn that looked remarkably like Trump supporter signs, color and font, and it just said Homelander. And then they were rounding up starlighters and they were putting them in camps and
right. And the golden statue. That was a year ago that they filmed that.
The golden statue.
Then now there's a golden statue of Trump.
And oh, by the way, now in this part I love because this season ends with him trying to tell everybody he's God. And then the stupid AI image came out a few weeks ago of Trump thinking he was God or whatever.
Yeah. God, the Pope. Like there's all this religious symbolism, and there's a Trump Bible or America First Bible. And then there's the Homelander Bible, and there is the Democratic Church of America. And it's like, oh my God, They were just prophets. They, it worked out as a commentary, but they filmed this a long time ago.
I don't know how much was prophetic and how much was reactionary or refilm. I don't know, but I think the key isn't when it was done or how well they did it, if they really did predict it, but you can't be pissed off when a good show holds a mirror up to society and shows you the ludicrousness of it.
On to my rant.
Kids don't know how good you've got it.
All right, so here's my rant. My rant is that if you're watching a TV show or a movie and you're seeing it and the villains you're like, oh, wait, that's my people. That's the way I approach this. That's the party I support are being portrayed as villains. How dare they? You've got two options. Option number one, just lean into the villainy. That's your right. We're still a free country. You could just say like, all right, I'm the asshole. I'm the Biff from Back to the Future. I'm Kingpin from Daredevil. I'm Homelander in The Boys. And that's who I agree with, and that's who I vote for, and that's my lane. And just lean into it. And then don't go online and say, oh, they're woke, or oh, how dare they, or review bomb them. Just lean into it and like, hey, that's me. I'm the jerk. I'm the Biff. I'm the Kingpin. I'm the Homelander. And just lean into it. Just accept it. Or two, which is what I prefer, think, oh, wait a second. When I watch Back to the Future, I wanted to be Marty McFly more than I wanted to be Biff. When I watched Daredevil, I wanted to be more Daredevil, less Kingpin. When I watch The Boys, I want to be Billy Butcher. I want to be Huey. I don't want to be Homelander. That guy's a jerk. And then maybe make a change. Just make that change. Be more like Butcher. Be more like Daredevil. Be more Marty McFly. And then your life's going to be better. We're all going to be better off for it because we're all the good guys in these movies and films and shows that we love and have loved since, the Gen X, since the 70s. So let's go with option number two, but at least if not, go with option number one. Just admit you're the jerk, not accuse Hollywood of malfeasance. This has always been Marty McFly, Luke Skywalker. They've always been like this. They didn't change.
Yeah.
You changed.
I think it's interesting. Like Jeff was saying, when someone's saying, when you're seeing the show and you think that it's woke, right? It's not a new thing for entertainers to do this, right? From way back into the medieval times, the court jester's entire job was to poke fun at the people in power, right? They were the only ones who could get away with making fun of literal kings, queens, emperors in front of them and to their face because it was done in jest, quite literally. And when you see a piece of entertainment like this, because this is not a political show. This is not a show that's funded by Democrats or run by Republicans. I'm sure everybody on the show has their own personal beliefs, but this is a piece of entertainment, and they did their job, and they held a mirror up to the country that we live in today, whether they did it on purpose a year ago or they reshot everything to make it fit. I don't know, again, but this is the job of these shows, is to entertain us, and every once in a while make us see ourselves in a different way. So to just pile on to Jeff's point, either understand and lean in, or understand and go, oh shit. If you saw yourself in a specific character and it's not the one who is portrayed as the hero, maybe,
right,
just maybe, you might want to rethink some of the ways you see the world.
Right.
And that's what I love about, I'll get a little fucking philosophical, I suppose, but being a geek in general, loving these kind of shows and the storylines, every story that fits our genre is centered around a hero of some kind. Someone who's trying to take a bad situation and make it better. And that's what Huey and Butcher were doing. And that's what Luke Skywalker was doing. That's what Marty McFly was doing. Everybody's trying to make things better. And if you identify with anybody in these stories and it's not the person trying to make things better, my pylon rant is to maybe take another look.
Go with option 2.
Go with option 2. We're probably okay. But we're going to hit our final segment here because we're talking about the goods and the bads.
It's critical hits and epic fails.
Yeah, and we can make this pretty tight. And I know I do this often, but I'm just going to lean in. I love the soundtrack in The Boys. I was thinking about this, like, today, soundtracks don't quite sell because today we can easily buy those singles. And I know we could do that back in the day with cassettes. You could buy a single cassette, but really that's not what we were doing. We loved a good soundtrack because it was that we had 10 great songs, and we could buy on one album instead of going and buying each individual artist's album. Like The Boys, for all this season, like Billy Joel was a common theme, and yeah, I love that. And The Clash, London Calling, and Iggy Pop, The Passenger, and Nirvana's Heart Shaped Box. Like, there was so many great songs that had this. Like, if we were back in the 80s and this came out, I would have bought the soundtrack. I would have bought all the soundtracks. I thought they were great. So for me, the critical hit in The Boys was the music choices. They were just solid music choices.
Yeah. I love that you always go with the music. It's never the thing that I think of first, but I do agree with you. And of course, I am a Billy Joel fan, and they used Say Goodbye.
Yes.
At the end of the episode was a perfect match.
Yeah.
For the way this story ends. But
yeah, there was
I'm
like
gonna
that Good Night Saigon they used or something like that, and like their
Say
choices
Goodbye
were
to
just,
Hollywood.
Yeah, just perfect choices where they were.
Yeah. So I definitely agree with you. The music was great. The performances in the final episode, and Anthony Starr. Anthony? I don't know if it's Anthony or Anthony. His portrayal, we were talking about Butcher and Huey, but his portrayal of Homelander had to be one of the most difficult things because I've seen interviews with him, and by all accounts, he's a very nice person, but he's like the kid who played Joffrey in Game of Thrones. Like, he is now and forever. I will say, I think he goes through a pretty big physical transformation to look like Homelander. Like, that's not his natural hair color. And so, maybe he'll get away from it because his real look isn't the Homelander look, but he puts out such a great performance in this final episode. I always talk about character arcs and changes, and you see the man crumble at the end of the episode. And I thought it was played. I do think it was maybe they went from one extreme to the other a little too.
Yeah, they went for that humorous.
Yeah.
MacGruber does that in the movie. Like, he's like, I'll blow you. I'll do
Right.
whatever.
But it's like, but he goes from we're going to fucking tangle to I'll suck your dick.
I know.
And I'm like, that might have been a quick jump. Like, I think he handled it well as an actor, but I think the breakdown was enough.
Yeah.
The please don't kill me.
Well, and that's why I think they were going for humor there. It was that MacGruber moment. If anyone's seen MacGruber, if you haven't seen MacGruber, please do go watch it. It's awesome. MacGruber does the same thing. He's trying to get back into the military or into this operation. He's like, I'll blow you. I'll let you blow me. I'll let you do whatever. It was the same thing.
So that's definitely my hit. Was I think he was just great in all 5 seasons. I think he was great. And I actually saw a clip. From what I understand, the man does not like heights, and he did all his own stunts.
Interesting.
So he was like on wires going, fuck me, fuck me, fuck me. Why am I doing this? Like, so he's like flying around doing his own stunts because he wanted it to look good. But so kudos to him for overcoming a fear to do the job.
Nice.
My fail, and this was, I don't know if it's going to come back because I understand that there's more side story spinoffs coming. But Soldier Boy, he just ends up in the same tin can, I guess.
Yeah.
That he started the show in.
Yeah.
And it seems weird that they they used him that way. And again, I like the actor and I like the tie-in. So I was a little
Yeah.
bummed by that. It's not like I hated it, but I was like, I wish they'd have done more.
Yeah. Yeah, my fail was Starlight's powers. Starlight, in the end, does get her revenge on the Deep. Love that. And I felt that redeemed it a little bit. And I only say a little bit because she has this two fight scenes where she just gets her ass kicked or almost kicked by the preacher. Oh my God. My Lord, or whatever it is, although his death scene, I meant to say this earlier, was awesome. Where they put the ball gag at him, he blows his head off. That's so good. And then, but then Starlight gets her ass kicked by him, and that's okay because he seems pretty jacked and like Banshee from the X-Men, but Dognot is like she's barely like holding her own against Dognot, who's C-list. Like that just didn't make sense to me. And
they tried to play that up a lot, and it didn't work.
Like I know, like, oh, we're supposed to make her feel threatened by Dognot. We shouldn't feel that way. Like unless he gets the drop on her, but just to go in toe to toe in a battle that's equal, like that shouldn't have been what it was. And so I'm glad she got the final redemption against the Deep, but overall I felt like she needed a hyper-powered moment that we never quite saw. But that's my only that was my only fail.
Well, 5 seasons. The show has come to an end. I felt a very satisfying conclusion. Scabs and scars and all. I think we got a nice close. We got the resolution for 4 or 5 different storylines.
Yeah.
Not all of them were the best. Again, we talk about the Gen V kids and stuff, but I think the majority of the primary storylines, starting from Homelander and on the way down, I think they were great. So
yeah, no, I agree. I was surprised. I'm like, how are they going to wrap this up in 45 minutes? And they did it. In a pretty
was like an hour
way.
and 5. It was a little longer,
right? But like, there's a lot of They didn't.
I'm just being a dick. I know what you meant.
Yeah, because like Homelander was killed at minute like 30 or 35 or something like that. So, like everything else after that is kind of on the down slope. And I know we still have the butcher scene and all that. It's like but like that's the pinnacle, killing Homelander. So when that happened at minute 35, I'm like, what's going on? What do you have?
Yeah.
What's left? And but I was surprised. I think having Ryan fly in was really important. And so I think that was good.
Yeah. And I know we were trying to wrap, but I agree. Because it shows the difference between how Homelander was raised and how Ryan was raised, and that Ryan made a different choice.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that they all 3 get blasted and not just Homelander, so that the final battle when he dies it's not the same soup on human. It's 2 humans going toe to toe, and one who obviously has no inner fortitude at the end of the day. But anyway,
fucking diabolical.
We could different show, but I love it. We could talk all day. This is probably one of our longest, even with all the edits you guys will never hear, because I don't have to edit a lot, but that's okay. Listen, if you haven't watched it, you're way too past the spoilers for now. So,
it's a great binge. Do it.
Go
even
see
with
it.
All the spoilers you just heard.
And go back and binge every episode of our show too. Go watch all of our stuff. Like, subscribe, all the bull. But I love you guys. Thanks for hanging out with us.
Thanks, OGs.